Come in, beautiful souls. We are recording episode 17 of the first season. Welcome to Magnetic Beings, the podcast. I am Devin.
I am Heather.
And today is going to be an interesting one. I am so excited to talk about this.
Me too. Very
Um,
interesting. Very interesting.
yeah, and I just want to preface this by saying this is an opinion podcast. These are our opinions. This is for entertainment purposes only, right? Take with you what resonates. And if it doesn't, we're not here to debate anything. You know, what you see is what you get.
Yeah. And our brains go a million miles an hour.
Yes, they do. They do. But we try. We bounce well off of each other, though. I think we are very in sync, and I love it.
Me too.
Me too. Oh, so, and I need to talk to you after this. Something else has come up recently that I'm really excited about. So, big things maybe in the pipeline.
I like that.
Yes.
I found I'm sure you do this. You'll write down your goals and your like which things that you're trying to manifest. I do that every once in a while, but nothing's in order. Like none of I have 3, 4, 5 notebooks, and the dates are there, but you can see different years and stuff. So it happened to be one from a couple years ago, and it was like start a podcast was the first goal, and then the next one was think about merch. And then I was like, okay, I don't have time to read all these, but I want to because it's very interesting.
Well, it's so funny that you bring that up, right? Because the other day, it was like 2 days ago, I was thinking, gosh, I really need to get some different shirts, right? I feel like I'm always wearing the same shirt when we come on the podcast, or, like every day I'm live on TikTok. I'm like, I need more shirts. And then yesterday I went and met a couple of friends on the beach, and this one girl was like, I've got all these shirts for you. And I was like, no, you don't. She was like, yes, I do. So she gave me like 20 shirts. This is one of them, which I'm like,
Cute.
love. So manifest, it was like bing, 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 just came right on up.
That's
And
so awesome.
you guys,
I
I'm
just,
telling you, put your manifestations down on paper. Talk about it. Like, it
yeah,
was like within a day, I was like, I really need to go get some more shirts. And I was like, all right, and thinking like, all right, well, I have a little bit of extra money, I can go buy a couple shirts. And then the very next day, this girl was like, I've got all these shirts I don't want. I'm going to give them to you. And I'm like, so
I love it.
it was like 20,
I love,
more than I could have bought by myself. I was like, and they're all
I
like
am,
brand new. Like she's never worn them.
that's beautiful. I'm guilty of wearing the same because if I find something I like, I'll buy like 3 of them.
Yes.
And that way I can just grab and put, and so it kind of looks like I'm wearing the same shit all the time. But comments is because it's hard for me to focus when I'm talking. So during our talk, I won't look down there so I don't get distracted.
Yeah. So if we don't answer your comments in the chat, we're not ignoring you. We're just trying to stay focused.
It's a challenge
Sometimes it is.
all the
All
time.
right. So, what is the topic of the day, my friend?
Earth and
Earth
the shape.
and the shape of it.
Yes.
It makes me
And
so
I
controversial.
was taught, I know, right? When I was taught that it was round, it was a globe. And then in my classroom, we had these globes. And so prior to that, I just didn't think about it, I guess. But I, once I saw that globe, I tried to imagine how people were like driving their cars upside down and rowing their boats upside down and all the things.
Yeah.
Were you like that too?
I didn't think that much. I was not like a deep thinker when I was a kid. I was more, it was a lot of trauma there.
It's like
But
that song, well, I'll admit I got a thinking problem.
Yeah, yeah, thinking problem. But it was more like my 20s where I started being like, oh, that doesn't make any sense.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes. I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure I had a good connection and all.
yeah, you do.
So, and then I was also taught that it was 4,000 years old.
The Earth?
I was taught that it was spinning around, orbiting, flying, all these things. I was taught that it was 3,959 miles in radius.
3,000?
Hmm. In,
Makes
in
sense.
radius, yeah. Yeah, that's
It's like
what's, that's
3,000 miles to, to California, right?
3,000. Let me ask Homie. We're
Yes.
bringing Homie.
I'm trying to think.
What's the radius of Earth?
The average radius of Earth is about 6,371 kilometers, or roughly 3,959 miles.
Okay, so the radius is from the center to one side, right? The diameter would be the sum. Ask him what the diameter of Earth is.
What's the what's the diameter of the Earth?
The diameter of Earth is about 12,742 kilometers, or approximately 7,918 miles.
Okay. With that being said,
That's interesting.
I thought of all these things when I was thinking about this podcast. The moon, I was taught that that was a rock reflecting light from the sun, right? Um, and I was taught that it controlled the tides.
Mhm.
And then, like we talked about the other day, the 237 or 39,000 miles from Earth.
Right.
I'm just stating first and foremost what I was taught.
Yeah.
And then, because I actually had to write my stuff down this time
Yeah.
because I was I was getting overwhelmed.
Okay.
And then, oh, go ahead.
Understandably, I said.
Oh, yeah. I was taught that the sun is a big fireball that's 93 million miles away,
Hmm.
and that gravity is what holds us onto the earth,
Hmm.
and about the planets and stars and how they're in outer space. Um, oh, yeah. And then we lost a planet, or like one of them in the middle of my schooling was no longer a planet.
Pluto. Yeah.
No, yeah, that happened during like they taught me something and then took it away all in 12 years.
Yeah. You're like, wait, what?
And then also was taught that the horizon is where Earth curves past the line of sight. And
Okay.
then that a compass always points north. So those are the things that I started with, okay, that I was taught.
Hmm.
And then next I went into things that I felt like I knew already or that I learned later
Hmm.
that made me question what I was taught.
Right.
And so I always thought when I was a child that there was like an inside area that that where trees and grew and rivers flowed.
Yeah.
And then I didn't find out and about there's this big cave out that goes out near Vietnam. It's just like huge that they recently discovered, I think in 2009, that's like a whole ecosystem. And I was like, oh my gosh, and it looks so pretty. And it's just like I imagined
Yeah.
that when I thought that and spoke it out loud, people would say, no, that's not, but more and more we find that those
Yeah.
things do exist.
like an inner
Stop
earth.
me if you want to say anything. I'm just like, blah, blah.
Yeah, no. So you're discussing like an inner earth.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right.
To put a label on it, or that's one way I would describe it. So,
Right. And it's funny because I see that like I'll watch these debates with different people that are debating flat earth, right? And I hear them argue and I think if they could connect on a different level with their words, there might not be so much of an argument because they kind of are just seeing things from different perspectives, so to speak. Now, and then we talked about this dome thing in our last podcast, the where we were speculating that the Van Allen belt could be recognized as what in biblical terms was referenced as the dome.
mhm.
Um, and I always imagined layers like dimensions almost.
Right. So you're not, when we say flat earth, we're not like describing like a square floating around like this. This
Right.
is not what we mean by flat earth, like where you go boink, and fly off the edge. That
Right.
is not how we imagine it. We imagine it more to be like an energy, right? Which has layers or dimensions.
Oh, it's funny? I was looking up pictures to reference on what we were talking about. And remember how you drew the spiral? I found a picture that had what I was thinking and what you drew in the same picture. And I was like, no way. No
Yeah.
way.
I draw that a lot actually. It kind of comes
So,
in
like,
like that.
yeah, there's what you drew.
Yeah.
There's what you drew.
Yeah.
And there's what I was thinking.
Yes. Yes.
Isn't that funny?
That's
I was like, no
hilarious.
way. Yeah, and then it's also remember, with our chakras and stuff, our our bodies, our heart's electromagnetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is so backward, my camera, that confuses me.
I know.
But
It's
yeah, that's pretty cool that I found that. And then another thing, so there, okay, then we talked about the North Star too, consistently in the same place.
how we don't know if we are a ball spinning,
Yes,
right?
right. Yeah, if we're not
We change.
stationary, how is how are the luminaries moving and us moving and that maintaining its place?
Yeah.
Yeah, then recently somebody came out and said, when I was having this discussion, they were like, oh no, the earth's pear shaped. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, is this like Pluto? You're
Yeah.
just gonna try and throw it in the mix? Like, why then is the globe like a sphere, like a basketball?
So I wanted to discuss a concept with you too. So when we're talking about like flat earth, right? Not being a complete sphere, but being more, so not flat like a pancake, but flat in as like we don't go upside down. However, what are your thoughts on like the upside down? Like, do you think that they're like below our dimension where we are here on 3D? Do you think below here there is more, not upside
Well, I
down?
believe
Below.
if we're basing it on this toroidal, this, it would be like, yes, but they're not upside down, of course. Okay, let me show you what I do not see it as.
Okay.
I do not see it as this.
Yeah. Okay. You don't
I
see it.
don't see it. Uh-uh. And this is a kind of a good example. I wish I could slow it down, but
Okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying? Did you see how it was like,
Yeah. So, and I'm just getting some messages right now, like,
like from spirit or in your chat?
yeah, yeah, from spirit. And they're like the message is that everything is made of energy, right? So even though we are, it doesn't even really matter how we view it, like whether we believe it's a sphere or whether we believe like it's more of a dome shape or whether we believe it's completely flat. It's energy.
Right.
And so
Right.
it changes. It changes.
Hmm.
It's not static
Right.
because
Constantly.
neither am I, and like neither is this cup, right?
Right.
Even though it feels like it in our experience now, it's made of energy. And this is just how we perceive it at the moment. Ooh,
Right.
that was pretty powerful.
Yeah. This is true. And also true that go along with that would be the field that is around the energy field that is around it would look like a ball.
Yeah, it would
So
to our brain, right? And
yeah,
hmm, this is
the way
opening
we
up.
conceptualize it, yeah,
Yeah, this is opening up new things for me.
it's very interesting to me. And
It's
people get really mad. People get
People
mad.
do get really mad because they want to have a concrete answer. So I've found that many people don't like this idea of um, theory, right? They want proof, and they believe they've been given proof through these programs and organizations that have put this information into our heads about what things actually are.
And it's truly cognitive dissonance when someone tells you that something isn't the way that you were taught.
Yeah. Yes.
Those who teach things to us in the area of deception
Mm. And
are they will continue to stand by their lie in just like, oh well it's like, for instance, so if it was a globe, you should be able to see a distance of 1.5 miles per 1 foot of observer
yeah.
height.
Okay.
And so that's why when I'm at the beach, I'm always like looking out there at those ships and I know where those mile markers stand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm 5 foot. How am I seeing a ship fully? I mean, it hasn't even disappeared beyond the horizon, which, by the way, I later found out the definition of horizon is the line of sight. Not, it doesn't, when I looked up the definition, it doesn't even mention curvature.
Yeah.
It's the field of view, like how far you can see before
Yeah.
it just looks like a line.
Right. And interestingly enough, this is like kind of a sidebar thing. Have you noticed when you're looking out over the beach that the line or the horizon, where at one point, and that this is just an observation that I've made over the last year, where at one point it was really static and flat, now looks to be like wavy.
Yes, but that, I feel like everything I look at sometimes, it's almost like I'm looking at the Matrix or like,
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe
yeah.
that's what it is for me.
And I mean,
I was like, wow, I never noticed that before.
or is it, things that are in our atmosphere that are causing that appearance because you know that things are sprayed all over the place for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah,
Or, I mean, it could just be earth changes,
yeah.
changes in the height.
Or it could be an increase in, dimension. We could be moving up. You know?
Yeah. Very bad kitty.
Like the apartment in the sky.
We're moving on up.
Moving on up. All right.
So then there's
Well, wow.
the poles. Obviously, the poles are like. And this is a question that people ask me a lot. Like, well, then if it's not a ball, how do you explain the poles? Well, haven't you ever seen a short magnet?
Yeah.
I believe that there is magnet, positive and negative. Yeah, that's there. There's magnetic
Yeah.
in the center. Now, there's another thing I never thought about, but I thought about later is sea level. You know, it's like, why do they call it level? And why wouldn't it do anything other than level if it's flat? You know, and the tides come and go, but there's a certain point, and I was taught by the fishermen in my life that it was called mean tide. There's a point, so you got your low tides and your high tides, but there's one point where it goes to the highest high and the lowest low,
Yeah.
and that's called the mean tide.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing is that people ask me a lot is that why would they lie about it?
Yes. I was going to ask you that.
We know already from our talks that they've lied about religion and spirituality and tried to manipulate it to gain control. And so why wouldn't they want to control everything else? And so if we believe that we are in a space that if we go away from it, I don't know, I feel like it's control.
It's definitely control. So, and if we're talking about like inner earth and like what's outside the ice wall, perhaps there's things or places that have a vibration that if we go to that space, right, or if we know about that space, we are able to realize our true powers, right? That could be one reason to keep us in this limited mindset so that we will continue to be slaves to the healthcare industry, to the education industry, to governments, to all of it, right? So
Right.
if we knew that there were these other places, it would blow the roof off of everything that we have known about anything, right? It opens up the whole can of worms.
Right.
So
And therein
we want
lies
to know who we truly are.
therein lies free energy,
Yeah.
free free health,
Methodology.
healing methods.
Yeah.
Yeah, healing and preventative and food. You know, there's so many things.
Wildlife, like things probably that we never know about.
So I was watching an interview with this guy. He was apparently there are these big ships, these icebreakers, and he was supposed to go. He was invited to go to try and get through some ice. I don't know whether he was going because he thought there was something on the other side, or if he just wanted to investigate what was under the ice. I'm not sure what his purpose was for doing this, but the guy that was leading the thing ended up having a mysteriously before the time came, and he was talking about how that there are high vibration and low vibrations existing simultaneously on Earth. And I thought that was interesting because I feel the same way. And I feel like that's how some people see, I think I've told you this before, but like cryptids and stuff.
Yeah.
Or
Like,
some people, it used to be some people could see a UFO and some people could not. And now everybody seems like they're seeing them, but I'm not so sure what that is. But
I think it's the state, like your own personal state of energetic existence. So, however you keep yourself, what vibration you are operating from, allows you to see whatever matches that vibration. So, like the more you meditate, the more you cleanse yourself, the the more you connect with spirit, the stronger that gets, right? And the more that you will see within the spiritual realm, the more you can
Mhm.
hear, the more you can develop your senses. And I think the same way goes for the dark stuff. So the less you are connected with the light, the more darkness you see. Or I should maybe reword that. I think it's the more darkness you will experience, because even if you are vibrating high, you're way up here, you can still see everything down here. Like, so when we're
Yeah.
talking about like moving to 5D Earth, it's not that we're going to go to a whole new space. It's not that we're not going to see the pain and the chaos that's happening around us. It's just that we are able to keep ourselves at a higher vibration. And when you
And
are in this darker space, right, when you are operating in this low vibration, and you're not connected to the light at all, you can't even see the light.
yeah, or if you're allowing information in that is, my mom used to always say garbage in, garbage out,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's true. My mom used to say birds of a feather flock together.
mm, yeah, yeah,
Because the people you surround yourself with, you're absorbing their energy. You take on traits like with the people that you hang out with, and that becomes part of who you are. So it's very important to. That's why I love you so much. You're so high vibrational, girl.
I love you too. You
I
know,
love my
it is
community.
hard sometimes though because you'll come across people that can't help but be negative all the time, and it's hard sometimes to ignore it. Sometimes you just have to let them go.
Yeah,
It would be cool if life was like TikTok. You could just block people and then
yeah.
you wouldn't see. Where's my husband? Let me try it.
You're like erase,
You're blocked. You still can walk around and have fun, but you are blocked.
right? Exactly. And the interesting thing is that when you decide to choose, like, all right, we're not going to operate from this space anymore. These people fall away from your life, right? When you learn how to keep yourself high vibing and a good attitude, you don't even have to like say, I don't want to communicate with you anymore, because it just falls off.
Yeah, you just don't participate. It's like it's a ball. If somebody throws a ball at you, you can. If you don't throw it back, there's no game.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I love that. Good analogy.
And my little cymatic plate that I got is a good example because I've always been a sky gazer, and so whenever I look at stars, they look like they're doing this little shape thing, like geometric shapes and whatnot. And then with this plate that I got, it's making these same shapes with harmonics, with vibration.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing when I think about Earth. Also, the sun, hydrogen fuses into helium, right? And the sun is a star. So the sun and stars naturally do this. There are now companies that have successfully done this on Earth now. One in particular is Helion, called Helion, and they used magnetic inertia. Inertial. So there's three types of fusion: magnetic, inertial confinement, and magnetic inertial. And this is magnetic inertial is the one that they used to create this energy. And this is the free energy. Why are we creating it if we already have it? Or do we not have it? But
I think it's out there accessible, but they don't want us to have it. They don't want to give it to us for free, because then, they lose their money.
and harmonics work like magnets. I learned this too. The more harmony, the more symmetry, and the clearer and the different geometric shapes. And these affect our red blood cells. They lower our blood pressure. causes more oxygen to flow to our cells, all of these things, which that's what made me think about, you know, preventing and healing, preventing sickness and healing it. Word magnetohydrodynamics is fluid kinetic energy, and it's like electricity without a magnetic field.
Huh. I don't know anything
I
about
feel
that.
like I'm drawn to these things naturally without having researched them prior. Like I'm drawn to the ocean,
Yeah.
drawn to the sky. I'm drawn to those things is because we are those things.
Yeah. Yes. We are made of water. We are magnetic. You know,
Isn't that crazy?
it is. That is crazy.
What'd you say?
It's just beautiful.
The other day when we were talking about the Kubrick, the guy who did the movie, I was telling you all the little signs. The biggest one I forgot to tell you was there's a part in the movie where he's typing all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy or something like that over and over and over again on this old typewriter. And when you like the whole page, and when you go in and look at it, it really is A, but it's not LL, it's two ones, like Apollo 11.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh. Very interesting.
Yeah, I had written that at the top because I was like, I've got to tell her that because that was one of the most subtle ones. And I was just like, no way. And I remember that scene freaked me out too because I was like, he's going crazy. I want him to stop typing it over and over.
He's like, no, you need to pay attention. Look at what I'm actually typing. I'll do it over and over and over and over and over again. Well, thank you for
Updating.
yeah, because I didn't know that.
So, some interesting things that I found.
Okay.
The highest a civilian has been is 128,000 feet. Other than that, it's only been government employees with high ranking clearance after signing an NDA. When someone asks me, do I trust the government?
Yeah.
No need to ask me that.
Yeah, there's no.
Oh. Things that don't take into account curvature or would not work on a planes because they do not. So, you know, my daughter, she has her pilot's license, so they do not ever tip the nose down,
Right.
like when they're going, only up to adjust for wind.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't go. This goes back to my thought, my little child thought.
Like this.
Wee!
Right? Not like we're going
Yeah,
out of the earth now.
hold on, everybody. We're going upside down.
Yeah.
I rode the King Cobra. Don't mess with me. Oh my God. You, lighthouses. Ancestor. My grandmother, great grandmother, she was the one with Bodie Island Lighthouse, which is down near Nags Headway. And that lighthouse communicated with another lighthouse that was like so far away. And how is that? If you should only be able to see a mile and a half per foot.
Right. So if the lighthouse was 25 feet, it would be what?
Yeah, what quick
More
math.
like 50 feet.
But
It would be like 70.
it's way further than these lighthouses should not be able to communicate or to see one another. I mean, I know they're there for the ships to navigate,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they
If
can
there
see
was
one another.
curvature, they wouldn't be able to see each other.
They would not, yeah.
Yeah.
Geostationary satellites over a spinning ball, that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. because they're stationary. So if we were spinning and they were stationary, right? They would have to move unless like the signal moves, but I don't know. That doesn't sound right.
Just something I thought of, but if there were a signal went that far, there wouldn't be multiple satellites. If the signal could move like that, then they wouldn't need multiple satellites. So the signal can only go so far.
Okay. So, but what if it bounced like down to the thing and then up to another one? You know, I don't know. I don't understand that either.
Just things that make me go.
Let's talk about Starlink. What do you think about that?
Starlink.
As it relates to if we were living on a globe.
When you say Starlink, tell me what you mean exactly, because a couple things come into my mind.
So Elon Musk's Starlink, the satellite.
Oh, well, okay. So yeah, when we had all of the flooding in Western North Carolina, he took and put a Starlink there for them to access.
Uh-huh.
And then when they had it recently in West Virginia, he put one there. So these Starlinks only cover a certain area.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're really expensive.
Yeah.
But I would think like it would be worth it for the area that it does cover for those people to chip in on one.
Yeah, but like there's like a big chain of them that like apparently circle the Earth, because I've only seen it a couple times flying by. You know what I mean? It's not always.
I've seen that before. Yeah,
which is confusing to me. But I'm not super intelligent. No, I'd have to read about that.
Yeah, it makes me very curious about the Mars thing too. When you mentioned Elon, the Mars thing came back into my mind.
Yeah. Oh, and then I was watching a video yesterday that had Elon saying that the moon landing was a thing, but that could be AI.
It could be, but it makes me wonder if the planets aren't just on the other side of whatever the enclosure is. Say if it's an ice wall.
Yeah. You think it's an ice
wall? Well, I think that would be make the most sense, believe it or not, to me.
In the North and the South Poles.
Well, there's the North and South Poles are both in the center. So this is the thing, like with your compass. And this confused me when I was a child. I always thought it was north, south, east, and west, like that. So I thought if I wanted to go north, I was going to be going up in the sky.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But what it really is the center is north. So if you're in the center, that's north.
So I just want to reiterate this. This is not a place where we're looking to debate anything. We're recording a podcast, so just listen.
Or we're just bouncing ideas off.
Around ideas. This is not a who's right, who's wrong live. Thank you.
Okay. So, did we talk about the dodecahedron
today? No.
I felt like we talked about that maybe in the sacred geometry, but
yeah,
I put some things together. Like DNA molecules are connected in the shape of a dodecahedron. A dodecahedron is a three-dimensional object. It has it comes from the Greek word dodeca, which means 12, and hydra, which means faces. It has 12 pentagonal faces. It's got 20 vortices and 30 edges.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine it looks like, it almost looks like the symbol that they showed for the virus.
Uh-huh.
It almost looks like that. I'm wondering if each of these vortices could be, so imagine the dodecahedron surrounds it all, and each of these little vortices that come off of it are the portals.
Hmm.
What
So your theory is we are a dodecahedron?
could be
Yeah.
created within the
Exactly.
harmonics.
It would make sense of as to where pyramids are placed on the earth,
Yes,
which is
right.
another podcast we're planning.
Because the dodecahedrons they're very complex geometrical shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And so high harmonics form these very complex geometrical shapes.
Very high.
And that's truly what I thought they meant. And they were seeing, like we said in the beginning, when they see that shape, a globe.
And it could resemble a globe, but that wouldn't be
Yes.
that wouldn't be
And each of these vortices can connect with another dodecahedron and spin, as in the way it happens in DNA, without getting tangled. This is what's crazy.
Mm. It's fascinating to think about.
It is very fascinating.
It really makes you think, you know what I mean? Because, everything is made of energy. And if everything is made of energy, maybe that's why it doesn't get tangled, because it's energy.
And there hasn't been a theory to base gravity. Like, even when I'm watching scientists talk about something, they will never use that word, even when you think that word should go there. Because I feel like it's not gravity, it's more density, and as well as magnetic things happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And it makes sense. All of it makes sense scientifically, more sense using electromagnetic ideas like that. Some work on both. Like, some could go and work for both ideas, some of the theories, but
Yeah.
gravity is not one of them.
Yeah. Like, and you think about that term, what goes up must come down, would relate to gravity, right? That term. So you think it's more magnetism
Mm-hmm.
and density. And so, like, how some things fall at a higher rate of speed that are heavier and denser and thicker. It's more of a magnetism thing. That what you're saying?
Yeah, like magnetism. That's what's holding us on the earth, I believe. That we're not gravity.
All right. So when we are thinking about being in outer space where things are apparently weightless, is it because we're out of that electromagnetic field?
Yes, and you're on the next level of vibrational frequency of harmonics.
So
You have a
which would
lighter
be
body.
actually like a moving upward like this rather than out.
Yeah, see, and it makes sense spiritually to me too, like that.
Yeah.
Because we are moving into our light bodies. You're going to a different dimensional
Yeah.
plane where everything's different. And you're then working on quantum level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which the quantum level just destroys everything that we already know about science.
Right.
It's like, oh wow, they've created a wormhole. Oh wow, they've found out there's parallel universes. Ever since all this quantum stuff
Right.
has
And that
been,
they've created a computer chip that can draw information from these parallel realities.
yes, right.
It's nuts. You guys, we are on our way to discovering so many, our minds are like, so just prepare yourselves. Right? And that's kind of like what the goal of our going back and forth with these discussion is too, is let's talk about what you learned in school. What do you believe is true? And then let's try to apply, like, from the regular Joe Schmo perspectives, her and me, she's Joe, I'm Schmo, right? Like when normal people are thinking about this and putting like more of a spiritual spin on it, how does this make sense? Does it make sense? Could there be other theories? Of course there is.
And with having all the things that have come out in the past, say 4 or 5 years, and have been solid with things that we thought we knew, and then now they've been confirmed.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't,
have been proven to be true.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like me raising hell because my children were learning that the Pilgrims and the Indians were buds when they
Yeah.
came home from school in kindergarten, and and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, what? So they definitely teach, hopefully that'll be changing, but they definitely don't teach straight up stuff.
Truth. Yeah.
It's a narrative.
Yeah. And it's like this whole idea that, we are so limited in our capabilities as humans, right? And there will be more podcasts that we will be putting out going over documents that are available on the CIA website right now, right? We're going to dive into that as we continue on. Maybe we'll do what do you think? We'll do a whole season just on CIA documents. Like, that's how much information is being released, but nobody wants to take the time to go out there and look at it. So that's part of our journey here too, is to kind of bring this in, give our perspectives. This is all thought-provoking content. We are not here trying to debate who is right, who is wrong. We are just trying to introduce to you thoughts, things that you should be thinking about, right? Rather than relying exactly on what you taught in school, because not all of it is true. Most of it isn't.
A good example is like the JFK files that are being released now, but I always reference back to this because this is when the Alphabet government agency said to the news media, coined the term, I guess, conspiracy theorists are those who are trying to challenge the narrative of what happened. And then they took those files, they were classified for however many years, 15, 25 years, I think is average. Well, in 25 years, those who were, like now, I think that it was just last week, one of the last people that were actually alive to see that happen passed. And so it's not something you're going to tell your children, these terrible things that happened, but they're going to know because they're going to hear what is being sold to them through. Now, I say this, that believing fully that this is going to change. I believe that this is going to change and that the truth is going to become revealed and it's going to win.
Yeah, but it's already been happening slowly.
Yeah.
Trickling out.
Yeah.
It's slowly trickling out.
Yep. But people don't care anymore, is what I'm saying. They go, okay, so they're over the fact that he was.
Because it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When somebody challenges your beliefs, right? I remember, oh my gosh, like back when I was political, like I'd get pissed if somebody challenged my beliefs.
Me never.
And I ended up in a coma, and now I'm like, light and love, right? I don't care what you think. It's okay. We're here provoking thought, and that's all. We're not trying to tell anybody you're wrong about what you believe. You believe whatever you want to believe. We're just trying to help you open up your minds to the possibilities of
Well,
what.
and it's fresh speaking from like my spiritual journey. It's frustrating to have someone make you feel a certain way for asking a question. And I'm very curious, and I want things to make better sense to me.
Hmm.
And so I would get sad. I
Yeah,
used to get sad, or I would just suppress the question. And then that's no good either.
yeah, yeah. It's
There's
been.
no dumb questions. And then I go, well, why don't the cathedrals have bells and geometric shapes and stained glass? Oh, you can't ask that question. That's a stupid question. Why would?
Yeah, what does it make a difference? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I can't.
Does the
Who
tones of the
cares?
bells heal the
Or
people?
just you're so irrelevant. So then you're like, "Oh,
Yeah, the less you know.
we got to take the power back."
We're here. um, so I'm just thinking another episode we should do is what conspiracy theories have been proven true, just to remind everybody.
Mm. Oh yeah, that sounds fun. I like it.
Yeah, we'll do that one.
I heard the Epstein list.
They did?
I heard that as I
Oh,
was. It came up on the TikTok, so I didn't verify it, but
yeah. So just to wrap up, we were talking about with flat Earth. So you believe that it's not flat like many people envision it, right? It's not like you're gonna fall off the edge of this
right.
flat plane, right? You're not gonna be like, "Brr." But it's more of energetic. It's an energetic flat plane, but it has like inner Earth, and as we go through the dimensions, here we are in our 3D, moving up to the 4th and the 5th dimension, still existing on the Earth, right? But also could be a decahedron, a dodecahedron.
Dodecahedron, yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing I wonder too is if the dome thing, how it was showing like this level and then the next level and like that.
Yeah.
If do they each have their own? Like, is
Dome.
there a dome here and then a dome over this one and then a dome over
Yeah.
this one, continuously
Yeah.
connected by all the vortices?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I do believe we are within a dome and not on a ball spinning. So you can call me
That
flat
makes
Earth.
no sense. Yeah.
you know.
But then I want to know more about the sun and the
Yeah.
moon.
Yep.
And Mars has a moon.
Does it? Is that new?
Well, apparently it's the next best inhabitable area.
Hmm.
Hmm. Phobos or something, which is the god of fear,
Well, I'm not moving to Phobos.
or whatever it is. I'm just like, that's what makes me. It's like, what? Because
Yeah.
again, fear is something that's trying to
Hold you down.
diminish our power.
Yeah, exactly. When you live in a state of fear, you are definitely powerless,
So yeah,
less powerful.
that's makes me question.
Yeah. And paying attention to what things are named and what they're called is just a really good practice, to really understand the true meaning of things and use your intuition.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because words are powerful.
They are. Yeah. So, like saying things like when something's so funny, people say, "Oh, I'm DEAD." That's not good. You shouldn't be saying that. or oh, I'm DYING, and I understand the intention behind it, but the words are cast spells. That's why they call it spelling. Hmm.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, we have a new bird named Divine on the beach in the morning. He's got a black head and black feet.
Aw.
He was so cute.
You know what? Paul, the Paul lookalike, my Paul,
Yeah.
landed on the little rail today, and I was filming him, and then another lookalike Paul came in, and he was almost up to him. It was almost like he pushed him off. That Paul went off. This one landed in the same position, like nothing happened. I was like, y'all cannot trick me.
I see you.
I know you're the two Pauls. Come on.
That's so funny.
I was, oh, Lord.
Lord. So, well, that's fascinating to talk about, and we can throw around different ideas about that, all day. I could talk about it all day.
I could too. And all the stuff with the cymatics and that stuff is so interesting to me.
Yeah. Have you done any more lives with your plate?
No, I didn't do any more lives. I did the few videos that I've made.
Yeah.
I have to do it when no one's here because to make the really cool shapes, you have to go the high frequency, and it's like
It hurts your ears.
everybody gets pissed at me. Like, stop.
You're like, maybe it would help.
Hey, can we talk about the Schumann resonance though? Was it
Oh,
yesterday?
woo! Timelines are shifting. It's been crazy.
That's what I'm saying. There's something
Yeah.
with the sun, and
And the
I
energy.
just don't. I want to know more. I want to know more.
Yeah. I do too. He's laughing at us.
You heard that?
Yeah. He was like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah."
He's like, I know the real Paul.
I know. All the messengers know. Um, well, that's fascinating. I love this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, if anybody has any suggestions, feel free to like message Devin or I
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
what I got, because I've got access to things. I got
Yeah,
access to informations.
she does, and that's why she takes the lead on these because she does the research, and I just bring my own opinion. She
Well,
knows what
you
she's
know what?
talking.
You ask questions, and as much research as I do, sometimes I'm like, I never thought about that question, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I think we're a good team.
so,
I love it.
I love it too. I love you.
I love you. All right. Well, anything else we want to add?
I don't think so. I think I went over all my notes.
All right. Yeah. So, what do you think we're on? Do you think we are on flat Earth? Do you think we are on a dome? Like, do you think we're in a dome? Do you think we are on a dodecahedron? What do you think? If you are listening to this podcast in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get podcasts, feel free to leave us a comment. If you are listening on and watching us on YouTube, feel free to give us a comment. And if
Yes.
you're here in TikTok with us while we're recording, we love each and every one of you so very much. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes. Thank you.
Love you.
I
Hey,
love you.
call me when we're done.
Okay.
All right.